Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. Today's Friday, so you know we wear red, we drink out of something red, but most of all, we remember everyone deployed. And so thank you to all our servicemen and women that are out there keeping us safe and defending our rights. I want to talk about some of our rights. There's some really exciting stuff around the First Amendment that happened this week that may be creeping in. Also, Jenny nailed it on the silver move and the bridge. We want to talk about that. We also have a request from part of our core fam members for one of their family members who's suffering. So we'll jump into that a little bit and tell you how you can help out if you are able to. So be back with Westwood right after this. Hey, okay, that's the second time that he has done that to me since we went live. I don't know if he's doing that, but I kind of doubt it because it looks like he's playing on his phone. So, not surprising to see some weird things happening with the internet. I was on with tech support on this program that I use for listing my my vintage and antique stuff. And they said, oh, well, it's because that's through a Microsoft product and through Windows. And so they're just having a lot of problems with that. Thought that was interesting. And they're like, and I'm like, okay, so it's not operator error. Good to know. But I did think it was interesting that it was happening on some platforms and not others. So like some systems or computer systems are set up to be to function like through Apple or on Mac or through Microsoft Office or through Google, right? And so it looks like one of those systems, but not all of those systems, are having some troubles. How you doing, Westwood? Hey, Mitchie.
I swear. Oh,
he's trying to dip out.
He's dipping.
I got him. Yeah.
I need a drink.
What are you drinking today?
Nothing yet.
Oh.
I'm drinking something in this big glass that I got from the lovely Litecoin Lisa.
Wonderful. I love it. So you guys can also shop from me, with me, buy me, chew me, at me, on the links in the description of this video. The Mighty Merchants Mercantile. And April 1st, we're putting out a new coupon code, which I did a video on the Mighty Merchants Mercantile YouTube channel, where you can find the code for that when you watch the Tulsa. It's very short. It's like 8 minutes long or something. But the Tulsa flea market video. So you really aren't drinking, and you guys are both just seriously down.
No, I've got a gin and tonic right here, and it's going down the neck. How fast can I drink it?
Well, let's not. We can just slow and steady wins the race.
Lisa says, "Okay, you're drinking. All right, you called my bluff. Stop. Just keep going. Can't help himself."
So, did you see or hear the interview? The Alex Jones, Uncle Cliff went.
Uncle Cliff? Yeah, I did. I happened to stumble upon it.
It's pretty good.
Then I listened to the whole freaking show. Then I'm like, oh, got tied up listening to that.
A little bit earlier than when Uncle Cliff started, and there was a guy on there who was saying he's having memory problems. And,
I don't remember hearing that. I must have missed it.
Okay, it was just before Uncle Cliff's interview.
Just kidding.
It's just a couple minutes before. And Alex, I think, leans in and says, like, oh, well, that's part of the mind control. And he was talking about the energies or oh gosh, how did he say it? See, now I can't remember.
Right.
He was talking about which I don't know if that's what those 5G attacks were going to be on us or whatever. And then I think about the Super Bowl commercial. Don't pick Mitch's nose. The Super Bowl commercial where Jennifer Aniston goes, what? Like,
yeah.
you think I forgot the last 10 years? My gut is telling me I smell something coming, and I don't know if it has to do with the eclipse, if we're all going to forget the last 10 years. NASA,
Lisa.
I have to dump all this first. I know. I have to dump all this first where I see, I don't get to talk to you for a few days, and then I'm like, so, you know, did you hear about NASA dumping, or they're going to launch 3 rockets at the same time, and they're called Serpent or something like this?
Yeah.
And then the kid after Uncle Cliff was talking all about the Hebrew calendar, and that April 8th is the start of the first day or something like that.
Right. And all the energy.
And something about like the bad ones will try to put, their energy into starting the new year, and the good ones have to start their energy in the new year. But also CERN is getting restarted. I watched on John Claude's channel.
Kicking it off.
On the 8th as well. But Uncle Cliff, I believe it was Uncle Cliff, I hope I'm not misquoting, said that CERN has been taken over by the good guys. I don't know. I'm not there. Come on, man.
I don't know. I'm not there.
Like texting TPA. Okay, so this was my other thing is like I was outside my home and I could not remember the code to get in my home. And
I've had that happen before at the ATM. I can't remember my PIN.
I know
at the ATM. I'm like, where's my PIN? I've used this for years. What is my PIN? This is stupid.
Is this just recently you had this experience?
No, this is like 20 years ago. So it's been ongoing for me for a long time.
Okay. Well, this like just happened to me. And then there was another thing. I couldn't remember TPA's name, his like regular name.
Well, of course it's Kevin.
Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, Kevin Whisper. Okay. Yeah. Now I remember, you know, and then I was like, I can't believe, like, I knew the numbers. I couldn't, and I am a little dyslexic, you know, so I'm sure
I am too. That dyslexia really gets to you. I know. It makes life
your brain's got to purge some of the useless information.
But I had learned a way to remember it by a puzzle or a code or thing. And so but that was not coming to my brain. And so when Uncle Cliff was explaining what that guy was going through, and that it could be from magnets or being, if you had surgery recently, which I have not, but
my Botox.
I need a little help from a friend, but that's okay. I just wonder if these energies, if they're going to use the eclipse as, oh, well, it wasn't us zapping you.
Wasn't me.
Eclipse.
It was the eclipse. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's a perfect opportunity to pull some shenanigans and blame it on the eclipse. You know? Ever since the eclipse, I haven't been the same. You know, I hear people say, well, ever since COVID, I can't smell right. Ever since that happened, everything's been good. I can't taste this. That's like, here's an event that we're going to completely screw you up. Yeah. You know, and then you blame it on that, you know? Yeah. Meanwhile, we're in the skies, you know.
That big train wreck that dumped how much toxic whatever into the water system a while back.
Oh, which one? In Ohio?
Wasn't in Ohio.
That one? Yeah. East Palestine. No, there's Palestine. Probably.
Something like that.
Yeah. Oh, synchronicities.
I'm sure. But supposedly that's all supposed to be from the NDAA that Public and I read that year, Trump's last year. That is all to be disclosed to us.
Well, here's the way I look at it, Lisa. If they're going to use this April 8th stuff and say that, you know, hey, it's a window that's opening, it's the beginning of the year, and we pour all our energy into it to influence the whole year, I say we go put our energy out there and live how we want to live and manifest our reality and turn that light right against them and expose that darkness for what it is. You know, they ain't going to hijack my energy. F them. And if enough of us say that, it's like you put out the energy you want to put out, not what they want to control you to put out. Fear-mongering into every bridge is going to collapse. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. Whatever. Vampires, whatever.
Speaking of bridge collapses, I don't know if you guys watched, Bix released it on So it was available for Road to Ruta members, private road members, but then just recently, earlier this week, he released where Jenny on a private road reading or interview or whatever.
Yeah.
He was asking about silver, and silver, you know, now that some of the evil stuff with short people is coming out, he asked about silver and whatever, and he said that how did it go? Oh, she started seeing these different, the 9 of Wands and something else. I can't remember the cards, but she said there's a bridge, and
Over
there's a
troubled
bridge
water
that will be taken down, or something happens to a bridge, and then that's going to trigger or create the failure to deliver that basically cliff.
Silva.
Yeah,
that could be. I think there's a warehouse that was going to have issues in Cliff's data as far as silver.
So
like some kind
that's and then
it seems like it's in that area now that I think about it, like somewhere in the east, you know, DC, maybe that area, from what I recollect. I could be wrong, but
okay.
I mean, something could happen, you know. I don't know.
I wonder if that was in Strange Energies from Space or Soaring 20s.
Space goat farts.
What?
That's what he called it, space goat farts.
Oh, okay.
That was the term he used, that all-encompassing thing, these energies from space that he couldn't quantify. He knew they were coming from space, and all the changes are coming, so he just called them space goat farts. You know, it's just like things coming from space blasting at you, space goat fart. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cliff's personality, sense of humor.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah. Thank you, Amor Style Tarot. I believe it's Amor, like love. Yeah, she said the 9 of Wands and the 9 of Cups, and then it was like, she goes, it's almost like I'm having a remote viewing, like she was seeing an image of something, and then like literally the bridge goes down, and then now, and you have to remember that all of this coincides with like the bank window being closed, the Federal Reserve, the loan or whatever it's called, window being closed to the banks, and they can't get their fake money. And then also there's a great interview with Andy and Natalie Brunell on her channel.
Yeah.
And he's talking about this, how BRICS has been, you know, stocking up on precious metals, hard assets, physical assets of precious metals. And so to then know that that's been happening all this time, if the dollar goes to nothing and we have to trade in what he talked about, assets being in 2, currency and commodity. And, you know, Litecoin was just.
It's both.
Oh,
it's a currency and a commodity. You know, you think about gold as a currency and a commodity. Silver is a currency and a commodity. But there are some, like the U.S. dollar, it's a currency. I mean, it's just closed. There's no commodity value to it. You know what I mean? Oil is a commodity. Not necessarily a currency, can be, but it's not liquid, you know, pun intended, I guess. But, you know, it's not easily moved around. But anyway, go ahead. He's probably got another point, though.
No, I'm with you on it. But he was talking about these different markets and them not being able to deliver, and what happens when it shorts and they can't deliver. And I watched that interview with Marty on John Claude's channel. He had some interesting charts, but with these black swan events, that changes a lot of that trajectory, I think.
And I mean, that may be part of it. I think like I said, I think you're seeing that battle being played out and where we can all see it now. Whereas before it was covered up, it was under the guise of a war against terror, or you know what I mean, whatever label, big label they put on it, but all this other stuff was happening behind the scenes. Now you're kind of see it coming out. Hey, we need to destroy some infrastructure, possibly. You know, maybe that's the angle. Let's blow some stuff up and burn some chicken farms up and burn some cattle, you know, and starve these people, you know. And then on the other side of it, there's other things going on with rockets and, you know, who knows. But you're starting to get the sense that it's playing out in front of us now, and that there may be forces fighting each other right in front of us, you know what I mean, rather than behind the cloak of war. It's like in your face.
Well, so speaking of rockets and things in our face, and us forgetting things too.
Forgotten more than I ever learned, I tell you that.
100%. There's so much information to consume, and you get you know, on to the next thing, which is an easy way to distract the public. And then they're so focused on this that they forgot all this truth that they learned, you know. But our friend Tom has a family member that's really hurting. And he put a link in the description for GoFundMe. If you're able to help, please consider helping. And so it's a very strange story, but just this morning, so I'm driving and I'm hearing that there's a new outbreak of leprosy in America.
Oh, you wonder why, huh?
And they said, but don't worry, it doesn't affect people with a normal immune system. It only affects the elderly and those with a compromised immune system. Well, we all know what, you know, Dr. Reg explained to us.
That's everybody.
What happened when people complied with getting poked. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to like straight up basic girl Google the amputations. And the very, oh, well, it's used to say the very first. Now it's flooding with this chief fan thing. Okay. Now that's changed. Okay. This is really annoying because this is not
son of a biscuit.
That's not the result I just had.
Real-time adjustment factors.
Let me go backwards anymore.
Undocumented features.
Yeah. Okay. So I just wrote the word amputation and then I clicked news, I think, or what was my next page? T-Rex. And then it's this page. Very first page, which just now you guys saw, I wrote amputation and now it's flooded with people from the Chiefs game or something or needing amputations because they got cold. That they're trying to hide this information then, in my opinion. So
interesting.
This Boulder man undergoes amputations after flu immediately leads to life-threatening sepsis. And in the story, it says that he was home. Dad of 2 has both feet amputated and nose mummified after flu. They are now considering taking his hands as well.
While I'm live.
This is insane. And in the story, it says that he was home. His wife was out of town and that he was home with his children. So, okay, if you're at home with your children and 2 months ago, Josh Meyer from Boulder was a very active man. I was mindful of my diet and staying healthy, who did we see having heart attacks the most on soccer fields? Healthy athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Typical Colorado lifestyle. Tom says this guy's like 6'4", like just really in great shape, very strong, muscular. In February, his wife went out of town for a few days and he was alone with his 2 children when he got the flu. Well, so your wife's away, so you're not engaging with her. She's not bringing in new germs. You're just alone in the house with your 2 small children. How are you getting the flu?
Right. Where's that?
Yeah. Common sense here, people. Critical thinking.
Oh, my Lord.
But on Friday, Courtney came home and it was really bad. She took over. This is just heartbreaking. So he's rushed to the hospital and it turned into streptococcus, pneumonia, and sepsis. So sepsis is where like your blood gets sick and starts attacking or killing your organs. If you ever heard the term septic, or when somebody gets septic,
right.
The sepsis attacked his heart, lungs, and kidneys. To save his life, the doctors at hospital removed both his legs. Well, this is his legs, not just his feet. He also lost the use of his hands. And I don't know if you saw the picture recently with King Charles, where people are like, what's wrong with his hands? And his hands
like
look
puffy and sausagey almost.
Well, now they're like a reddish black, like
Oh, really?
frostbitten.
Oh,
Like
I haven't
they're
seen
dead.
that. That's like bad, like diabetes or something.
Yes.
You know what I mean? When you get real inflamed, you know, at the
Yes.
extremities. That's not good.
But this guy has, I mean, bless his heart, he's got 2 young children. Clearly, they are not wanting people to see this story. So, with help from a cardiothoracic surgeon, without the help, I wouldn't be here at all. Thankful for support, outpouring of love and messages. So, just sending lots of love to him and his family. Just heartbreaking. I've also been seeing these ads for stroke and heart attack. Like you can go and there's places where you can go and get like a free screening in your town. You might look into it. Just be careful I don't know, maybe be careful of that. I don't know anymore. Everybody do your own research and make your own choices for yourself. I mean, it's really scary when you can't trust medicine,
Anything.
you know? Yeah. And there
Yeah,
are dire consequences. The other thing on this is that this pulled up. One more thing. I'm sorry, Westwood.
No, you're fine.
On this original search before it, now when I search it, it doesn't show any of this. It was showing the children in Gaza. It showed how many children. Oh, a little 7-year-old Phoenix girl had amputations due to complications from strep. That doesn't sound right. That's 3 days ago.
Really?
So some of these stories are starting to come out. Then they talked
about
a weird
infection.
Made me remember the stuff I've forgotten. Remember how they were using bioweapons. They were gassing them. And then hearing Uncle Cliff's talk and that guy having the forgetting time and then the person talking after.
Yeah.
And the magnets and whatever. Are we being is MK Ultra more than just a mind control thing? Are there magnets or frequencies involved? And are they harming us?
Well, I think without a doubt. And it's just how deep does it go? I think we all know that they're harming us by, you look at the food supply, the water supply, what's coming down in the air. I think we all know that, if you're paying attention, you know that. Some people aren't awake at all. But, we all can recognize this is not good, what they're doing. However, is it much deeper than that? Is it much more at a frequency level, coming through the air, through who knows what's in Antarctica and Switzerland and, all these things that they're putting together and sending out, all these vibes, I guess you could say, all these waves, all these frequencies. And does it do something the whole Mandela effect comes to mind, where we got this mass consciousness of forgetfulness, we wait a minute, that changed. Did it change? I mean, did it change? Why did it change? How did it change? I don't know. And then you got people say, well, we're on an alternate timeline or something like that. I don't know. Again, I can't speak to that. I'm not. But, I mean, I guess everything's an alternate timeline. It depends on what decision you make today, and as we collectively make different decisions, we change time. So, I don't know. It's, put it this way. There's been a lot of money that's been spent, infinite amounts of money, to create infinite amounts of technology and products, and I don't think they're for the good of us because we're still paying for a freaking electric bill. You know what I mean? We're still being metered for everything that we do. Whereas, they're building all these things that, are in caves and underground, and what are they doing? What are they doing with this stuff? And what capability does it have? Can it modify the weather? Can it modify your brain waves? Can it put you in a stupor state, make you slobber, or make you passive, or who knows? I mean, it's hard to say. And some of us are more receptive to that for probably environmental factors, things that we've, ingested, eaten, the way our body makeup is. And you know what I mean? Maybe what race we are even, because our DNA is subtly different, and we're more affected than other races. You know what I mean? It's hard to say. Who knows? So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that that's happening.
With me right now.
Well, then we got the energies from space thing, too, that Cliff was talking about, and where we are and, you know, with energies coming in this part of the universe where we're at, and you know, that follows a cycle. So there's that too, and that may be bigger than anything that we can do on here on Earth. Don't know.
And that's where I texted you before we got started, or maybe a couple hours, and I was like, you know, this week, I believe it was this week, Julian Assange case was heard, and he was, although it felt like they kicked the can down the road 3 weeks, during that hearing, Greg was saying on World Blockchain Roundtable that his First Amendment right was like backed up or given to him, which I don't know how you give someone their First Amendment right, but I don't remember the right word that Greg used, but he will be able to have free speech. And that's part of the same fight that Trump is having, where they keep trying to, you know, put a gag order on him and all that. A lot of this is free speech, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. And I had this person, well, they were asking about the Diddy stuff. And does anybody have information or links or whatever?
Well, you said Divvy.
No.
Oh, no, Diddy. Got it.
Diddy.
Diddler.
And so I started sending him a couple, not a lot. I didn't like bombard him, but I sent like 2 or 3 articles or links to give him more information, because maybe he didn't know what was going on, because he was like out of the blue. And then it went into and I've known this person for years, and it went into this whole thing of, and I said, hey, and he told me about his experience in the music industry, and that, you know, once you get in there, because money is no object, they get into like experiencing weird things and really dark stuff. And so he talked a little bit about that. And then I said, well, I'd love for you to come on the show and share your experience so we can tell people about some of that, you know, that I think that's being exposed, and the people that are being hurt by that. And, you know, we can help save some children, you know?
Right.
And, he went to my page and he goes, well, I guess we haven't talked in a while or something. And he's like, your banner where I have like Save America is very concerning. And then he went on to tell me that I was supporting Hitler, and that I that I was in support of the Oklahoma City bombing. And I was like, you are so misinformed.
Where's that coming from? Yeah.
It just went down this rabbit hole that I'm a racist. And that,
but I'm trying to figure out what's making you that. I mean, what? So
he's really I think, indoctrinated by mainstream media, and not just him, but a lot of people. And that's where I think when he had so much, he's had so much personal loss,
trauma,
from who you and I know is the elite.
Right.
He lost a friend in the Oklahoma City bombing. Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You know, he's been exposed to all this other stuff. So like, it was very heartbreaking to hear his own pain. And you could see he was looking for someone to lash out at. And of course, mainstream media has made Trump the target. And then he like wanted me to read this
big target.
Yeah. This book called oh crap, not Tulip, Trudeau, not Trudeau. It's this book where it's fiction, but some radical group, it is supposed to incite violence in radical groups, and it like pre-predicted or whatever, like kind of what the media is saying happened at J6, not what actually happened there. But you could hear his pain. And so although he called me several names and was ugly with me and whatever, I just kept trying to talk to him and be like, hey, let's look at this, you know, together. Sure. So I looked at it. He's like, you won't even look at that. You're typical Trump, whatever, Hitler, Nazi, blah, 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 all these name calling, just angry, violently angry. And I thought, you know, if this is somebody I've been a friend to, and they're this ugly with me, when their cognitive dissonance is being pushed upon, when I start telling them like, no, that was to protect Hillary, that wasn't, you know, Trump's team or whatever. And I just keep telling him like, this is about the children and about all of us being enslaved by the US dollar. This is not about us.
That's what it goes back to. You know, that's the thing. That's my resonant point. The touchstone is, hey, listen, it's all about the money. They're all using the money against us. They're all robbing us of our energy with the money. All these things are occurring because of the money.
And they don't care how many of us kill each other, shoot each other, whatever. To them, that's just more blood sacrifice. They can roll around.
Absolutely. More death, the better, baby. Yes.
The uglier, the better.
Our God loves sacrifice.
Shake up that anthill.
A lot of those heifers.
And so I just was really heartbroken. And I told him, I said, you know, like, I forgive you. And I said, which I think that just pissed him off, which I wasn't trying to be like above him. I just wanted him to, when he goes, I asked him, I said, you know, I looked at the links and yes, here's what I see. I said, I would ask that you go look at WikiLeaks and you look at that resource and look into it. Do your own research. Don't let me tell you what's in it. You go look at what's
exactly.
in it. Go look for yourself.
Don't trust the media. Don't trust me. Trust yourself. And you better figure it out, you know, and you do the research. Don't listen to somebody else. Go to the source.
It's all out there. And then I said, when you have questions, like, and can have a conversation, like, then I'm here. And I think we're going to have to go. I think this next awakening, this next stage that we go through, they have so much anger that has been, the can has been shook so hard for so long that they are going to be so, they've been trained to lash out at Trump.
Right. That's the whipping.
I'm like, you're the only person talking about race. So I'm really confused at why that's even an issue when I'm talking about children and how money makes us all slaves. But you keep bringing up race. So I don't understand where you're going with this. But
the money is racist. It's anti-human race. Yeah. Anti-human race. It's racist.
100%. So I just think we all need to like be ready for, I always thought, oh, well, they're doing this soft rollout so that we know people will get hurt and whatever. But like the ones that haven't chosen to lift their head out of the sand until this moment, they're pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to turn that anger at
something. Something.
It might get real violent and we might all need to let them do what they need to do because they're going to know that they have been played all these years.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. You know, think about, you know, believing in a system that we know has lied to us completely, lied to us at every step. And then think about you participating in it, putting your energy into it, buying into it, following the rules, listening to doctors.
About it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you think you're mad at some point to where it's like, wait a minute, you know, my whole life was built around this paradigm. And now you're telling me it wasn't real? And a lot of people can't deal with it. I can deal with the truth. You know, if I realize, you know, I've been living a lie, I can, you know, I'm able to do that. Not everybody can. You know, a lot of us here in this group are. But there are people who are like, wait a minute, no, I gave up this, you know, for this and that because I believe this. And you told me this, and I believed you. I believe my preacher. I believe my doctor. I believe my teacher. I believe all you people, and you all lied to me, not willingly or unwillingly. But the thing is, I don't like where I'm at right now, and I need to lash out at somebody because, you know, you like upset the apple cart here and destroyed my paradigm. And, you know, those people, you're going to have a segment of people that, I mean, they're not going to
take it well because
they're not going to take it well.
To be angry.
They're going to snap. They are going to snap.
Yeah. And so now I think what the dark ones don't understand is when the light is shown, all of that evil that they try to gin up, all that anger that they've been trying to gin up is going to come back pointed at them.
I mean, French Revolution did that. I mean, that's a bad situation to be in where everybody's like, march them out, cut their heads off. You know, you get rid of them. You know, and the mob just goes nuts. I mean, because it's like, yes, get rid of it. You know, and okay, don't want to be in that situation. You know, the thing is, we have to be cognizant that, and like you got to be patient. And he's like, listen, this is what's doing it to us all. I mean, these are the things. They're all controlling it. It's not Republicans good, Democrats bad, or vice versa. It's really not that. I mean, you know, the whole system has been working against us, and it hasn't done us any favors. So let's understand, you know, how we've been manipulated. Really, it comes back to, let's just get back to, you know, our natural rights and respect the natural rights, you know, that we're always there, like you always say, but they're illustrated, you're written down in the Constitution. I mean, that just basically enunciated it, you know, and that goes back to God's law, you know, that's what natural rights are. But I mean, you know, we've got to get back to that type of mindset. Otherwise, I mean, you know, it's just going to be a free-for-all. It's like, hey, let's just get revenge and go hang everybody. you know, because they deserve it. They do deserve it, but
only
it's gotta be done
violence, right?
in the right way, you know, in a just way. It can't just be, let's go round them up. I mean, then, you know, who's the next one to get rounded up? You know, everybody gets rounded up at some point. So yeah, we're living through one of those periods.
It was just very like eye-opening to me today. And usually, like, I would not entertain, don't get me wrong, I would not entertain a troll or somebody that's just, you know, vomiting ignorance or whatever. But this is a person that I've known for a few years. We had things in common, and he's very influential in his community. And I was like, okay, if I will humble myself and try to have a conversation and educate him,
he can teach others. You know, he can teach others what he's learned.
Yeah, that was my hope.
Right.
And so I took a little bit more abuse than I probably should have.
That's okay sometimes, though. I mean, that's all right because it's for a greater good.
Yeah. But I'm not hurt from it. Like, I know who I am. And I know that I care about the community enough that, like, if you need to get your anger out, but you'll listen to me afterwards and you'll think for yourself afterwards. And I just asked him, I said, will you please go back through this and read this conversation and look how we treated each other? Yeah. And then please consider looking into that information on your own. And then I was like,
you might be pissed at me, but I still love you. Just saying.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Walking away now.
But I also am going to put up a boundary at some point and not allow you to continue.
Right. And that's it. You can't take, you know, that's it, you know.
Yeah. That's okay too.
Yeah. You can't beat your head against the wall and, you know, keep doing it and doing it and doing it. At some point, it's like my thinking is next. All right, somebody else wants to learn. You don't want to learn? I've tried. I can't waste my energy anymore. I'm going to the person that wants to learn, and that's where I'm going to spend my energy. But I'm willing to do it here.
There's also, you know, your family loves, you know, you're out there in the cornfield and you know it takes more than just the seed to make a plant grow.
Oh, yeah, you can plant the seed, but it dries out. You don't water it. You put it in the wrong spot, not deep enough, too shallow, whatever. You know, I mean, there's a lot of factors.
Right.
You know,
so you never know when you're speaking to someone, if you're the water for them or the sunlight or if you're the dirt.
You might sit there a whole season, you know, and then it goes over winter, you know, the next year it comes up because the conditions were right. You know what I mean? And that can happen. And
sometimes that's almost better because then it's their experience of like, oh, they discovered it.
I know.
And then they can have ownership of that. Because I never want somebody to think that, like, although I do pretty much go, oh, whatever Cliff said. Mostly. I critically think for myself, but I do listen to him a lot. But I never want somebody to think, oh, well, just because Lisa told me. Like, I hope that something I told you triggers a curiosity for you to go look yourself and learn.
Exactly.
Your own
inspires you to find it so that it resonates. Because nothing's more powerful than when you have that spark. I mean, that's the thing. You can tell me, Lisa, you can tell me and say, well, Westwood, you're wrong. I know you're wrong. You're wrong. And I'll be like, okay. And I won't accept it. Even if it's you saying it, I won't accept it until I go off by myself. And then I go and look at it and I figure it out. And then when I get that, I'm like, okay, yep, I was wrong. Okay, Lisa was right. Now I internalized it. I know it for myself because I've done my own research. It resonates with me. I understand it. Then I'll go back to Lisa, give her a big hug and say, yes, you were right. But I'm just an ass.
Well, I feel like more and more of this is coming. Like I feel today the dogs were like
being dogs.
Being insane. No, they couldn't like just be in the house and be like at peace. The wind, it was really windy here today. Although we had 2 helicopter flybys, so hi to whoever's flying by. But the dogs just like couldn't take it. They're, you know, barking, running around, you know, just couldn't be settled or peaceful.
It's a lunar eclipse thing. We're in that time frame, you know, all the energies are like, and it's spring, you know, but that's the thing. These seasonal changes are important too. I mean, you know, when spring changes, you know, and here we are, you know, going into the more energy, you see it in everything going green and everything just growing. And those are different energies that affect you differently. And, you know, they're affecting animals differently. They affect us all differently. And so it's important that's why they know the energy points, you know, and when to push things out when we're most receptive. I mean, because, you know, they know the game. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
You got a drink, sir.
Thanks, Mitchie.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love it.
Yeah, it's just really interesting to kind of unpack all of it. But
No,
I did want to touch on the Julian Assange thing. I thought that was really important.
Thank you.
Because I had thought that was a big nothing burger. And then when Greg said, oh no, they like codified his First Amendment rights. So to me, that's his most powerful, that's his superpower, is his freedom of speech. So if we get some information coming out from Assange, that's huge. You know, he had in WikiLeaks the White House parties, hot dogs and
Hot dog parties, baby. Let's get what, $68,000 worth of hot dogs from Chicago. Hey man, can we do a little dance, Obama? Hot dog party? Why are you flying in hot dogs from Chicago? I mean, I know they got great hot dogs and brats, whatever it is, but that's the absolute worst. Get it?
I got it.
Anyway,
it was bad, but I got it. Yeah.
I had all the deep dish pizzas. Well, it's thin crust cheese pizzas, I guess. I mean, the thing is, though, it's like there's something more to it when you read the emails. It's like, it's not just a hot dog party. What's a hot dog party? Listen, anybody out there says, hey, it's a sausage party. What's that mean? Everybody knows what it means, right? So when somebody says, a president says, oh yeah, we're flying a bunch of hot dogs, having a hot dog party.
And they said other things in the email
that didn't make
sense to make it sound like there were.
Right, the context is when you read through it and it's like, okay, yeah, read between the lines. Yeah, we see what's going on here. But that's nothing new. Go back to what was it, the Franklin scandal down in Nebraska, wasn't that what it was? And then, the Bush White House, or maybe it was the Reagan White House and Bush running stuff out of there. I mean, there's always been this undercurrent of depravity, that's gone on, in the power circles. It goes back to Rome and Greece. I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, it's just, but it goes on. That's what they do. They're just a bunch of deviants that want power, and I mean, that's why they're in power, because they crave it. Mm-hmm. They do odd things, I guess you could say. Just ask P. Diddy.
Well, he's not the only one. That's the other thing that more of this is exposing,
Right. That's just another.
I guess 50 Cent is like
calling out
Oprah stuff or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody was talking about Taylor Swift the other day, hanging out with all those people.
Anybody who has become a billionaire in the music industry, I have to be suspect of. I just have to, because it's a controlled system. So you got to think, are they going to let you rise to power if you don't play ball? I mean, that's my first thought. Are you going to get to be able to be president or Speaker of the House or Senate, whatever, leader, if you don't do something or you're compromised, basically, so that they can take you out when they want to?
And music is so powerful because it's like teaching people.
Hollywood, music, same thing. But yeah, at a level that you don't understand, that vibrates and resonates with you, it hits you. It's like subliminal messaging that gets you. It's like people work out and they listen to certain music. Like, yeah, that's what they do. They listen to that kind of music. Whereas if you're listening to Beethoven, or Mozart, and you get into that different, beautiful music and mindset, it puts you in a whole different mind. Your body reacts differently, and you can study it scientifically. The plants react differently. But if you're listening to AC/DC or Metallica, I mean, the plants don't. They're going to grow better. I don't know. And it just puts you in a different frame of mind. If you're a soldier going off and, it's like, all right, we're going to go out and get out of the helicopter and blast some people. It's like, what kind of music are you going to listen to? You going to listen to Tchaikovsky? Probably not. Probably not.
So speaking of frequency, I found this article about the every 200 years, there's an event where Brood X and Brood XII or something like that. So one of them's on a 13-year cycle. One of them's on a 17-year cycle.
Are you talking cicadas?
Yeah, there's cicadas every year. Yeah. There's annual cicadas that come up every year. But then there's these two other types. And one's on a 13-year cycle, one's on a 17-year cycle. And right now is the 10th time in 2,000 years. I think that's right. Yeah.
It comes together in an X.
comes
They
together
cross, they intersect.
and in about the same place as that as well. So, but at a different time, because they're saying they're not going to really start hatching till like May. So if the eclipse,
it's usually got to get pretty warm for these things. I mean, usually around here, the annual ones, it's July. It's got to get hot. Now, I don't know about the 17-year ones. I remember
it's like May through June.
Okay, so it's going to be like in waves.
Mid-May through the end of June.
Okay.
And of course, maybe it'll go up, as the temperature goes up or whatever. But it made me think of frequency. They put off this noise.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
And you'll hear it in the summer when I'm doing this live show. When I got the door open, you'll hear the cicadas in the background.
And that's only the annual ones. So what would it do if all of these broods happen at once and it's a 200-year event and it changes the frequency?
Well, what I would do is go look at when it's happened in history and mark those years and see if there were any significant occurrences that happened during those times.
There were 17 states in the United States.
Okay.
It was, gosh, I read a thing about it. I should have had this pulled up.
Yeah, so that's what I would look at. What happened at the last time, and then overlay that and see if there's any commonalities.
Yeah, it's like 200 years ago. So if you look at that, I don't have it pulled up anymore.
You ever look at a cicada? It looks like a little mechanical war beast. I mean, when you get real close to them, they have the red eyes, and then they're just like
that's
little...
the other thing. So Canon's video game right now has all this weird stuff that's like parallel with what's going on in the world. But the what's it called? The chrome girl, I can't remember what her name is coming back with like this all chrome outfit, and she has amber bug.
This is in the game?
Yeah, in the game.
Okay, the chrome girl.
She's got like, or like a scarab thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, now I'm having mummy things because of that poor man's nose and his illness. So she has like bugs in amber on her. And they're not moths. They look like cicadas.
Okay.
And she's going to be released, and she's like in mostly silver or white or whatever. And but then it made me think of the Egyptian. Like, have you ever seen where they find like, or in my sister brought me back some amber from Poland when she was working all over the world, and then there's some that have.
We brought Amber to a couple of meetups too.
I brought my friend Amber.
Oh, that Amber. Okay,
yeah. That's a different Amber. Okay, but I don't know, this whole bug thing. It's weird for there to be bugs in this thing. Anyway, and all the gold.
That's you think back to your Jurassic Park. That's what when you're talking about amber bugs and amber. They had these little dinosaurs captured in amber, and that's how they extracted the DNA so that they could. Create these new recreate dinosaurs based on the DNA because it was trapped in amber and perfectly preserved. And I don't know.
You don't say.
What I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. So I got Jurassic Park comms today as well.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know. I just with you, yeah.
And there was a band or something.
We're gonna hear some frogs when the eclipse comes because it all goes dark and then the crickets and frogs and everything starts going. It's weird. It's so weird.
Really?
Oh yeah, I remember like 2017.
Huh? Isn't it only 4 minutes long?
Well, I mean, it's like the totality, I guess, would be, but it's like a 3-hour period to where it starts and then you watch it go over and then there's around here. I think it's like 2 o'clock is when it peaks. When it's fully covered and it's really weird. Temperature drops. It's the frogs start croaking. I mean, everything. It's just an eerie darkness, but it's not dark. You know what I mean? Like night, but it's just a strange. And everything gets triggered.
Like the most recent eclipse, it was partial, but it was like we were at a estate sale or something outside, and it was like the leaves were. It looked like the leaves were dancing because when you look on the ground, it's kind of moving back and forth because you're seeing parts of shadows or multiples of shadows.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was really interesting.
It is odd. And I can imagine, you know, if you didn't have any technology and then you go back 1,000 years, you know, say 2,000 years, and, you know, this kind of thing happens. I mean, well, you don't know what's happening. I mean, you know, when the priest tells you this is what it means, you probably believe him because it's just, oh, you know, this is so out of the ordinary and everything changes. That eerie feeling, you know, and
yeah.
What's this mean? I'll tell you what it means. Follow my orders.
It means Litecoin's up 17%.
Whoa! You've been warned. You've been warned multiple times.
You've been warned.
What was it? Coinbase came out before we went on, and actually the futures are live now, or it's approved, or whatever it is. The futures derivatives, whatever the frick they're doing on Coinbase with Litecoin, so it pumps the price because everybody gambled big time with it. Now, all the big money gets to come in and play with it.
Wait, so they did like a
live
derivative Litecoin thing?
I think so. Hang on, I just saw something when I was, and then I was looking at it on Twitter, and it said you've been locked out of your account. Yes, it did. I showed Mitch. It said my account got locked as soon as I looked at the Coinbase thing. Yeah, and so I had to like redo something to prove I'm a human. I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Let them scan your face. Let them look into your DNA.
Look into my eyes. What do you see?
Mm-hmm.
See a bunch of whiskey, gin floating. But yeah, I think that's live, and so I don't even know what the price of Litecoin is today right now.
Hold on.
I can look. I'm gonna look right now.
Little
Coin. I'm search it up.
Since CoinGecko listened to our request to remove the fake warning,
$109. I'll tell you what, that's a big number because once it goes over 105, if it closes like right now for the week in the month at like $109, I think that's over the 200-day moving average. I mean, that's big signals. I mean, that's probably your rocket signal right there. And then so everything, I thought it'd be May 1st, but you got to think the 3-month candle closes on Sunday. I mean, yeah, this could be the Litecoin moonshot. I mean, this could be it. And I'm, you know, here I am. Like, it's probably.
The thing is, remember what day is.
$1,000 Litecoin this year. Whatever.
The last day of the year.
Right.
Is really the 8th, though, right?
Yeah, if you look at that calendar. So April 8th, look out, new year for Litecoin. Here it is. All the karma is going to be corrected. And sound money for the digital age will finally take its place on the throne. And Litecoin goes 0 plus another 0 next year.
Well, and
I'll finally be redeemed.
The other show I watch is Tom Numbers because I love all the gematria stuff, and he'll have 107 on there. And 107 was talking about having the he was also talking about, wasn't he, the commodities and the currency, or was that just Andy? I think 107 was talking about it too. He was talking a lot of biblical stuff today, but then he was also talking about maybe it was more the calendar.
Can you see the Litecoin? Do you see the Litecoin? I'm playing with it at this point because it's a foregone conclusion. You know, I mean, we're at that point where it's just it's going to go just because of other factors. Yeah. Buckle up.
Mark Moderman says that's what everyone says about every coin out there.
Yeah, but you know, this is a long time in coming, and it's for a reason.
It's really different with Litecoin.
It really is. I mean, it's been in its place for a long time. It's been, I don't want to say suppressed, but you know, it's a different. It's like silver. I mean, it really is. I mean, and when it goes, it goes. It's a hallmark of things finally changing and people waking up, I think, you know, because it will be an awakening to legitimately sound digital money. And I think you'll see silver do the same thing just because faith is lost in the dark system. Let's just call it that. And those two coins happen to have whatever frequency, whatever energy in my mind that vanquish that darkness and give people freedom, allow people to use their energy how they want to use it and have control over it. And yeah, so
we'll see. Flav brings up a good comment because America has been very protected and has not had this experience. But I have friends who grew up in Brazil. Well, several friends who grew up in Brazil and other countries where they have had currency collapse. And so they've lived through it even multiple times, depending on where they've grown up. And so he's talking about Soviet Russia collapsing. There was physical currency change every 2 months. It was hell for the citizens.
They're used to collapses and people devaluing the currency. I mean, it's just that we had a military. I mean, and that's the thing. We were in a position in history where we, could defend the dollar at all costs and make it the standard and enforce the standard. And everybody had to use it. And it made it the most liquid currency in the world. And so it's artificially allowed to exist. And, it's done a lot of damage around the world. And it's starting to unwind itself. So, I wouldn't want to be putting all my assets and my energy into that, thinking that's going to get me to a stage of retirement where I can be happy. I would definitely look into other assets, things that you can control and hold in your own possession going forward. That's just my opinion. That's what I'm doing. Dogs, whiskey, cigars, a little bit of gasoline,
whatever,
matches.
What do you need to get by?
Right.
Sure. And that goes back to what you tell people all the time. Make sure you're exchanging hard assets for hard assets. When you get to
that's it. I mean, any coin can go up. Anything like chocolate, skyrocketed this year on the futures or whatever, on the exchanges. Chocolate was some ridiculous amount of money per ton. And I mean, and it's like, but if I've got my raw cacao beans, and I get it, don't be going and talking about, they sit out by the road and they ingest all the fumes, that go by in these third world countries and all this stuff. I get it. But, if you've got your raw cacao beans, which basis of chocolate in the house, and I've got those and, I got plenty of them, then, I really don't care. I don't need the milk chocolate, and I'm not going to worry about the end price of, Reese's peanut butter cups going up. And, it's just whatever. I got the source. I got what I need here. So get what you need. Get it while you can before, the dollar just completely goes ridiculous and you can't buy the stuff anymore and they destroy all the supply chains and whatever happens, who knows what's going to happen. But, get the assets in your possession. Hey, if you need energy and you get some solar panels finally activated and they work and take care of that situation and, give you energy, then maybe you should do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right?
There was a huge hailstorm.
At some point, it doesn't matter what it cost. It's the fact you have it. You'd be like, it doesn't matter.
Hailstorm in Texas that destroyed like acres and acres of those solar things.
That can happen too.
Everybody's about the silica that's leaching into the soil. Silica, think about it. The natural.
Isn't that like sand?
Yeah. Hello?
I got a desert in my backyard.
Okay. And so.
Scraping up silver.
And Bix was talking about, you could take one Bitcoin now could buy 5 monster boxes of silver. And if you listen to that,
that's a no-brainer. I mean, hey.
Yeah, and listen to
could Bitcoin go $1 million? Yes. Could silver maybe at $30 at the same time? Probably not likely, but yes. But the thing is, if you can take one Bitcoin and get like 5 monster boxes of silver, to me, it's a no-brainer.
You can take a volatile asset and put it in and that may be where Litecoin and silver have been undervalued, is that they're not as volatile as some of these other things. If you can take a volatile asset at the top and buy a less volatile asset, undervalued asset that is less volatile, that's a sense of security, especially if you can hold it in your own possession. So if you think about it that way, then make good choices, boys and girls.
Somebody go out and do, and I've said this, somebody go out and do the ratio of an acre of farmland to how many silver coins, over history, over time, what that is. I'm curious. And I think, like I said before, I think the University of Iowa might have done that study to where historically, an acre of farmland, because an acre of farmland produces, so much food. Yeah, you can produce more with bigger machines and all that stuff. But, I'm just, you have that example throughout history. Everybody says, well, with a gold coin, I can buy a really nice suit. You can do that, throughout history. And that's true. You buy, certain things, items that are going to go up and cost more money because of the cost of production. And, gold, the instance has always been that, 1 ounce of gold buys you a great suit, really nice suit. And, you know, it still does. And so I'm curious, you know, looking at ratios of silver to real items from the past, like, for instance, what's 1 acre of farmland? What's like the range where how many ounces of silver would pay for an acre of farmland? You know what I mean? And when we get to that point, because I like playing ratios, I like looking at ratios like you're talking, Lisa. When this is up here and this is way down here, I want to take this up here and put it into this, because I don't make enough money to just like go buy everything I want. I drive a freaking digibug. You know what I mean? I can't go out and buy stuff like that. I got a daughter in college. Roll Tide in the Elite Eight, baby. Anyway, I had to throw that out there. I'm paying for it. So
women in your life that that you are very good to. So
yeah. So I mean, look at the ratios and how you can benefit and gain to where, hey, I've got this. It's worth a lot now. And this is like just as good, maybe better. Maybe I should take this and put it into this and get a lot of this that I wouldn't have been able to get in the past. You know, so I mean, look at those ratios and everything. Assets to assets. That's where you have to look at it.
Hard assets to hard assets, where you can hold it in your
dollar's not an asset.
Really going to matter going forward. I watched a ninja video as well. I went for a walk today, so I was listening to a lot of videos. Ninja was saying that 5 more banks were on the S&P as like warning to fail. And the significance of that in conjunction with all the stuff happening on silver, the bridge going out, you know, the failure to deliver, like all of that is kind of the perfect storm right now. Not to mention the Evergrande and the situation in China where they're not bailing out the commercial property owners, and they're going to, you know, all those bonds are coming back, all the stuff that Jim Willie was telling us about and predicting months ago. So,
well, like I keep saying, you've been warned. Get into sound assets, because there will be a time when you think you have time to do it. You know, it's very easy to be complacent and have the normalcy bias of, well, you know, everything's doing well, the stock market's doing great, my NVIDIA stock keeps going up, la 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 la. But the thing is, yes, that represents an underlying asset, that represents some sort of production, some sort of productive capacity, but that's all it is a representation of it. Do you really have ownership of that just because you think you have a share of it? You know, do you really own those Caterpillar tractors because you own some Caterpillar stock? You know, and when it really comes down to it, that can be easily, you know, through some act of Congress or some dictate that's like, well, you know, you can't do this or that anymore. Are you liquid? Can you take it? Can you take it out? Just like a pension sitting there. Can you do something with it? Or do you have to jump through a bunch of hoops and take a bunch of penalties to get that money? And then at that point, you just have money that they're inflating away. And if you don't get to it fast enough, it inflates in like 1 week and it's gone.
Yeah. You know, during the Great Infection, there was an opportunity for people to pull out their or take their, I think it was 401ks.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was
without penalty or something. There was a benefit.
Without penalty, because we were in
stimulate
emergency. And there's been a lot of states recently that have reissued an emergency because of this eclipse. I wonder, you guys might want to look into it yourself.
Maybe that's a loophole.
That may be some loophole that you can exit your pension or 401k or whatever without having to pay taxes.
Right.
I think it's only up to a certain point. I don't think it's all of it, but you might look into that. This is no financial advice. I'm just a mom that homeschools her child and
ideas.
Yeah.
And
I love America, the people, we the people, not the government. So, anyway.
Right. Get some. Go out and buy okay. So you don't have a lot of money. What do? All right. Always a good option would be there's a lot of places out there where you can go get a can of heirloom seeds that's sealed up. They're going to last you 5 years minimum. And they cost you like $30. And it's like, you know, a bunch of seeds that you can grow and grow your own food, you know, at some point. I mean, that just having that on hand is a sense of security, because if it gets really bad, you know, you might think, you know, I might want to get some of these seeds, and then it's too late. Well, because during the Great Infection, pandemic thing, you couldn't get any freaking heirloom seeds. Well, supply chain this, supply chain that. Well, it's back, excuse me, where it's cheap enough that you can go get a can of those things, survival seeds, whatever they call them, it's seeds in a can, it's got all the 20 different varieties, in little packets that are sealed up, I mean, just get those and have them just in case. It's a great insurance policy that if you ever are in a situation to where you need to, I need a victory garden, let's go out and start growing some seeds. Well, I got to go get them from Monsanto or Bayer, whatever. No, that's not a good idea. You want to get heirloom seeds that, and what that means is at the end of the year, when you plant a tomato seed, little tiny seed, very fragile. You plant it, grows this huge freaking tomatoes everywhere, falling all over the place, rotten, you can't eat them all, But you take one of them and you just take all the seeds out of it. You can have hundreds, thousands of seeds off one plant that you can save. And then look, now you don't have to go buy seeds anymore. You got them for next year. And so then, share them with people and, just, so that everybody's independent. That's the best way for me, my personal, just be independent with your food because they're going to control you with the food. That's what happens in the Great Depression. You don't have food. You got to wait in line for the food. So you're a slave and you're going to do whatever they tell you to do. Don't be in that position to where you can't feed your family. You don't have an option. And that may be a barterable thing. You know what I mean? That may be something that's like, hey.
Listen to this. Seeds in Denver are $30 a piece for a seed.
Oh, come on. For what? What kind of seed is it?
Great Gazoo is saying. That's insane. Okay, so do you have any knowledge of this, or I need to have Mom on to do a little education of growing things, maybe?
Right. We might need to do a little crash course on doing a little victory garden.
That would be fun.
What kind of seed are we buying here?
Maybe I'll have your mom and my mom join us.
Well, if we're talking about a magic beanstalk, maybe it is $30.
I don't know, but so Harley's dad is asking. He says they're sealed and in the freezer. Not sure they will still sprout.
Well, they probably will, because if you think about it,
it's like
just knowing my experience. I mean, you'll have something that you plant, in the backyard here, and then you harvest everything, or you just let it rot off the vine because it's no good, whatever it is. Well, the next year they'll come up, and they've been frozen in the winter, sitting out there going through all the abuse, the wind, and all the craziness, and then they'll still sprout up. And so, I mean, I think they'll be fine in the freezer, to an extent. I mean, if you got enough of them, you'll get some that work. But I mean, these things sit out there and they still sprout, after going through all the harsh winters, just on the ground or barely under the soil.
So, okay. So I went to, Mom and I were at well, and Charlie was there too. We're at a little antique mall and they were selling plants.
Okay.
And I was like, that's odd, but okay, that's cool. And then
I saw that today, in fact.
Did you?
Because I was out antiquing.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, I got you something.
You got.
I got you a little something.
So then Charlie and I went to this lady's house here in town, and she's got a big sunroom, and she has these monstera plants. They're like, have palm leaves like this big, and
Jurassic style.
Different versions and whatever. And she said, oh yeah, it's a whole thing where like stores have like set up security cameras. They even have people watching their plants because people will walk by and instead of paying for the expensive plant, they take a cutting and steal.
Oh yeah.
And now Skullcap Savant is saying seed scams at Home Depot, the most common stealing technique at self-checkout is to place all the seeds under items or in tools that you need. They're so expensive. This is rampant.
Wow.
What is happening?
I mean, and see,
run on seeds.
That's what's good. Seriously, and that's the thing, though. Here's my biggest thing with this. They want to create a world of artificial scarcity where you think you don't have abundance, and that's why I'm telling you right now, it is a world of abundance. Mitch, you planted your garden a couple years ago. How many freaking tomatoes did you have? You couldn't do anything with them. You're like, oh.
Give them away.
And the seeds that are in each tomato. Think about that. And then you go to the store and you pay $2-3 for an heirloom pack of 15 seeds. I mean, one tomato, and you've got just, and then if you all those tomatoes, I mean, see, that's abundance there. If you save those and give those away. We're going to go to meetups, Lisa, and what I'm going to do, here's a pack of heirloom seeds, too.
That's right.
Johnny Appleseed. It's going to be Clint.
That's great.
Something seed.
No, I think
Clint Cantaloupe seed or something. I don't know.
Well, and like you know, we're in Oklahoma, but we can grow banana trees. They just store in the winter dry in your garage.
No, I'm
People know
envious
that stuff.
because
Education, knowledge is the
banana tree.
greatest thing to hodl right now.
It
Buy
is.
the books that
Yes.
teach you this stuff.
Buy them for nothing, 50 cents,
And
$1
learn.
at thrift stores, and get all that knowledge and save it up.
Yeah.
Avocado trees.
Yeah,
That
well,
was
I've
the
looked into it. It
reason
ain't
I
gonna
just
grow here.
have that in my mind that you went antiquing without me, and I don't get to see it.
Oh, I went to that. I took my wife. Well, they took me because
Let's be honest. They took me.
I didn't drive. I was in the passenger seat because, you know, I get out around people and I get anxiety. So it's I can't drive. You know, I can't do this. So anyway, we went out and you know, we're gonna take the little one out and get her out and do some things. And so we went to the mall. My aunt's got a shop there. My wife kind of makes, you know, tidies it up for her.
Oh,
anyway,
that's fun.
yeah. So we went to a few little craft malls and, you know, little shops and all these little places. And then I actually found this for you and picked this up. But they did have little plants, little aloe plants growing and cactus plants growing in the window. And but when I got you a pair of socks. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, he's so cute. I love him. I can't wait to wear him and be called a racist.
Yeah, I know, right? You can walk around, you know, with some shorts on and flip flops and your Trump socks around the neighborhood.
I love him. Thank you for thinking of me.
Pretty funny, yeah. So anyway, and then I had to do this because there's all this talk about the Stanleys. The girls have those Stanleys. Remember Christmas time? We had those Stanley cups and all this. So finally, I caved in. I caved in and I got one.
Do not lick the outside because it has lead.
No, I got my Stanley. Oh. Look at it. Look at that. It's got some rust on it. It's beat up. I got my Stanley. Finally got one. I'm so proud of myself. I got a Stanley.
So Westwood style.
Look, isn't that's me right there? I got my Stanley.
You and I can drink out of those one time because I have.
Oh, look at it. It's all just pitted.
Mine is a much better time.
Treasure. Well, yeah, that's all right. Got my Stanley.
I love it. And I did notice when we were in Tulsa, I was like, oh, that's Stanley. Like, that's what that brand that everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
But maybe they're bringing old made in America brands, making them great again.
It's got all this writing on it. What's it got? It tells you what to do, what not to do. Don't do this. Don't do that. USA, baby. Nashville, Tennessee.
Don't lick the outside.
Nashville. I think there's a summit in Nashville coming up in July. Yeah, it's number 13B Stopper, it's called. And no, what RH94 handle? I don't know. Old school. That's me. Right there. I got my Stanley.
So I have that one in green, and then I have the red tartan plaid one with the matching picnic bag on the store.
Of course.
So
bougie girl.
Yeah. I might drink out of the red one next
I need a bourbon to catch up with Clint. Yeah, warrior.
Papa Pond says, I have 2 Stanleys in my basement. Why are you not selling those? He's like, no, because that's the good stuff. I'm going to keep it for myself.
Yeah, it's like, no. No, Lisa just says, let me into the basement.
Please. I cannot get us to the basement fast enough.
Let me go into the basement. Let me look.
Let me look and touch all the pretty things. I'm like, I don't know. I haven't been to a sale probably in almost a week. But I don't know did you see my sleepy clown that I got?
Sleepy clown?
So this clown I got. Hold on, I have to be very careful with it. It's worth like $225. They're selling the last one sold for $225 and $200.
It's like a Dali clown.
Yeah, I got this in Stillwater when I went to college. It's huge. It's a McCoy cookie jar. The color on it is like real McCoy. Yeah,
it's a real McCoy.
That's what it is. And the color on it's amazing. Like there's no chips or anything on the lid. Like it's in amazing shape. And this guy asked $30 for it.
Charlie, pay the man.
The paint is perfect. I didn't even counter him. I was just like,
you're like, nope, buy it.
Yes, sir. What time can I be there? And he's like, thank you for driving all the way up here. I was like, oh, no problem.
No problem. As it's floored.
Yeah, this is great. I love it. I love it. Anyway.
I'll tell you what. That'd make a good hood ornament on the digibug.
No, it's porcelain. It's ceramic.
But I don't drive the digibug much, so
It
it'd be
does
fine.
look like Biden, Charlie G. I completely thought the same
You
thing.
put it on the roof of the digibug. How nice would that look? Like right there on top with the clown head.
You might have to like create a like acrylic box around it to keep it safe.
Yeah.
From something.
Well, I know somebody that can do like what is that stuff that you did with my daughter? What's the epoxy it? And epoxy it down.
I don't know. Would that protect it? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm talking smack. I'm in a bar drinking.
It's kind of expensive, so I don't know. You want to be careful.
It's worth more than the car, so take care of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's not worth more than the car. You guys, Tom's mentioning the story that we started early on in the video, talking about. So Tom's one of our like hardcore fam. Has been with the group for a long time and really supports Team Mighty.
Yeah, freeze-dried ice cream.
Yeah,
freeze-dried ice cream. Yeah, the clown car.
The clown. Do what?
Oh,
anyway,
Side
if
note.
you're able to help with his son's brother-in-law's, check out the link in the description, or not in the description. It's in the comments. Tom put it in the comments. To help their family financially right now. It's heartbreaking. And I think we're going to see more and more and more of that, unfortunately. So those of us or those of you that are in a position to give, and those of you that this next bull run blesses, or this next silver run blesses, I think there will be a lot of need and suffering in the world, unfortunately. And it may be a time to help others. So make sure you have all your assets in your possession, and then you're positioned to be able to help the people that you can and want to help.
Yes, ultimately, because that's what it comes down to. The income tax is going to erase poverty, right? And every tax that gets increased is going to fix everything, right? No, it doesn't.
No,
so it comes down to us.
Money to another country.
Yeah, exactly. It comes down to us, and when you make it, when you get wealthy, when you do well, because you got lucky getting into crypto and holding Litecoin for 7-8 years. When you get lucky, then and it does well and it has more purchasing power. Use that to do better and leave things better than you found it. I mean, don't be me preaching. It's my philosophy. Put better energy out there because you got more energy to put out there. You've got, do something good with it, because it validates, you'll feel better. I mean, you just will by doing better things with it rather than, oh my gosh, I want to do this for me, this and that, and it's just like, put it back into the universe and more will come back to you. More will benefit you, if maybe not at a physical level, but at a spiritual level. I mean, just as a lifestyle level, and it's just do better, and help people that need to be helped, lift them up. I mean, and that's,
and if we remember that we believe that this monetary system has enslaved all of us, then
it has robbed us
on its head, and let's free people.
Do the opposite.
Yeah, and do the opposite. And I just had a thought.
Speaking of which, when is the meetup in Oklahoma? Do something good. What can we do now?
We are going to be doing the meetup in Oklahoma. So we'll have we'll have the Team Mighty event, which you can get tickets for. The link's in the description. It's only $50 this month or this year. I tried to keep the price low. I got a great location that they didn't charge me a lot for the location. And we're going to have some amazing people there. We're celebrating and raising funds for this sweet boy, Mighty Miller, who is home now, but in the on the journey of fighting cancer and in treatment. And they're having to keep 2 homes, one in Tennessee and one here in Oklahoma. And his mom's just been a blessing to me and a lot of children in Oklahoma. She's worked for the Oklahoma Institute of Child Advocacy, and she used to volunteer for me every year helping with the kids with graduation and with Christmas. And so seeing her family suffer and struggle, just already worrying about your son's health you don't need to be worrying about, can I pay the bills this month?
Right.
You know, you don't need that added burden. So if we can help them out for a little while at a time, then that's great. We'll also be celebrating, this is Share Bear, which is Cannon and Mia's, she was like their nanny, or she just helped me get through a really hard time when I was a single mom. And she was a huge blessing to us. She helped Cannon learn how to eat again after being tube fed for 3 years when he was a baby. She loved food and people and kids, and she just passed away from cancer. And so we want to honor her life and tell her story and share all the love that she has for people, and be able to help out this family and help out Mighty Miller in his fight. So you can join us, or you can buy a ticket. You can donate a ticket. You can donate an item, but you can be a part of it. We'd love to have you guys here. And then, so that'll be on Saturday, April 20th. And then on the 19th, we're going to do a open to the public, free happy hour live streaming here in my town at this great place that's over by the railroad track in the downtown.
I hope it's on the wrong side of the tracks, because that's the side I like to be on.
It's on the right side of the track.
Oh,
but
all right.
But it's downtown. There's great little shops down there. There's it's the place where the restaurant is a like a food court thing. So there's like multiple options of food things. I'm hoping they have some outdoor music. They don't have that confirmed yet for that weekend, but they said they might by the time that hits.
Well, the thing is, Lisa's a wonderful singer, and you know what? We can, you know, maybe I can put something together. I guess I might be able to make it. You know, as your partner for happy hour, I'm going to do my best.
I need you there.
She needs me there.
Yeah, I need you there.
Well, it's a good thing, you know, because I will be there one way or the other. If I got to fly, I'll be there. If I got to drive, I'll be there. I'll be there. And I may have a sidekick. You never know.
Yeah, that would be fun. I would love for you to bring a sidekick.
Might be a big sidekick, might be a little sidekick.
I love all your sidekicks.
We're going to see.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. And I think
might be kicking both of them.
Do what?
I might be kicking both of them.
Oh, well, there you go.
Kicks.
That might be good. No,
I'll be clicking my heels. There's no place like home.
It's not. That was in Dallas, where Dave was had all those girls swarming him.
Well, that wasn't a sidekick. That was like a harem.
Yeah, that was
Pimp Daddy.
Place in Dallas. That's not Oklahoma City.
No.
This is in my town, like my town in Oklahoma. So not
pretty
even
much.
a big.
And they're like, oh,
the big one, yeah.
Right.
I am. So this is my other thing. I am not encouraging people to fly. I'm not flying. Things are concerning. I'm sorry to bring it up, Westwood. Maybe you should drive with your friend.
Is everything.
yeah, it's all about this.
I don't know.
I won't be listening to any Alanis Morissette on the way. You know what that means.
Okay. I'm just saying, I think it'll be a great time, and I hope everybody that can make it will, and if not,
I think we'll be
trying to
I need to take that trip to eastern southeast Oklahoma, wherever it is that you were at one point living, and check out.
Come to Nana's, and then we'll drive over there because it's not far from Nana's.
No. We'll figure it out. The thing is, one way or another, I'll be there.
Sounds good.
If I got to start walking, I'll be there. It truly will be, and this is inappropriate, a trail of tears for me.
Yeah, Mark Williams. Well, you could, because he has to even fly here, I think. I was like, you could drive here, and then, because we drive to Westwood.
Well, I'm not taking a barge, I know that. Say that. Yeah. No, but get there. And that's the thing. These are things that you can do. There, you've got two people, or two causes that we've talked about tonight that you can help. I mean, you know, they run the big commercials on the TV and make you feel bad for all these things. You know, you see the pets and the dogs and all that stuff. I mean, and then, you know, the United Way or this organization, that organization, you know, they're advertising and doing all this and spending all this money, and their CEOs are flying on big jets and that they own. I mean, this is something that you can, if you want to help somebody, you know, this is how you can do it so that the money actually gets to the person rather than, you know, some political organization.
Yeah,
because that's basically what those things
I will
are.
have a crypto wallet so you guys can see if you donate to.
And when Litecoin's $500 in a month, you know, you'll say, oh, you know, I'll break off a little Litecoin. Cool.
Yeah. So we'll get all of that set up. I'm not going to announce all of that until like after the first of the year, which is coming quickly. So I got to get myself in order.
I've been trying to do that my whole life, girl.
Get all the help. Yeah.
You gotta get myself in order.
Did we miss any big news items? I don't think so.
I forgot to bring in my list, you know, and Mitch says, why are you upset? What happened? I said, I forgot my notes. I don't even have any freaking notes, so, you know, I forgot everything. What went on. We had Sam Bankman fried, 25 years in jail.
25 years.
But Caroline and her dad, no issues there, you know, with Alameda.
I didn't hear anything about them or anyone else being sentenced or,
you know, he's like the Lee Harvey Oswald of crypto.
I have a question about that though. Now that he's sentenced, does that put him in a position to talk?
Maybe it does.
Unless he ends up like,
unless he's Epstein. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. You know, who knows? You know, I don't know. I don't know what happens there. I mean, but the thing is, and I talked about it last night a little bit, and I thought about it because I didn't really say it correctly. But every crypto cycle, there has been a confiscation of your energy. Mt. Gox early on, and then in 2017 you had BitConnect. You know, that was one, you know, scheme that was out there to steal your crypto. There were others, Ethereum. Let's not mention that, I guess. But then they're still stealing your energy. But you've got all the things that happened in the last cycle.
Learn more about Ethereum.
Yeah, and you had BlockFi, you had FTX, you had Celsius, you had all these exchanges, these honeypots, where you put it in there and get paid for letting us have your crypto, hold your crypto for you. And it's the same thing to me over again in this cycle, to where they're confiscating your crypto again. They get you, entice you to volunteer to give your energy and say, yes, I want Bitcoin. Oh, you're going to hold it for me? Very awesome. Thank you very much. Let's put it in this ETF. And so that's what's happening now. And so, I mean, don't give it to them, because something's going to happen and you're not going to get it back. I mean, because there's only so much of it to go around, and they want it. So don't give it to them. I mean, it's fine if it drives the price up, whatever. It drives the price up in dollar terms. But the thing is, don't put it in that casino. You can hold it in your possession. You know, do that. And then, you know, if you got more purchasing power because of whatever system rolls out, if Litecoin's now got whatever, an ETF or derivatives or, you know, whatever Coinbase is doing, futures, and the price goes up, don't be putting it in Coinbase. Don't be putting it in these exchanges. Don't let them hold it. You hold it, and then when you want to do something with it because the purchasing power has gone up, then you can do something with it and go do something with it. But don't be in a situation to where you're asking for permission for, you know, your energy that you put into something that you know is a great asset, and now you can't access that asset because somebody else has control over it. No, you control it. Trust yourself enough to control it, or figure out how to control it, because they're going to just make it easy for you. And if it's easy, it's not going to be good.
And then be watching those assets that you desire for when there's blood in the streets, and you can go purchase them. Exactly.
You know, you need more clown heads? I can get 10 clown heads.
Yes.
You need more rabbits? You go get more rabbits.
Hey. Oh, okay.
You need more Digi bags and more cigars and more whiskey? Go get more.
Okay. So Uncle Cliff had posted this thing. I think I sent it to you on. Did I send you the Large Hadron Collider thing? So they're going to be
Hadron Collider,
gearing up CERN on the 8th.
Yeah.
Well, LHC is Large Hadron. Is it called
It's
Hadron?
the Large Hadron or Hadron Collider.
Hadron Collider.
Yeah, you know, and look at that word. I don't know. I haven't researched it. I'm sure it ties back to something. They got the big
So
sheet
it's all
statue in
Alice
front of
in
it.
Wonderland and rabbits.
The Destructor.
This,
yeah, Alice in Wonderland, down the rabbit hole, right?
Yes. Hold on. I'm going to show you guys this because I had just talked to Uncle Cliff about this, and I had asked him about it, and I was like, oh, is that like Havasu City? He's like, no, Lisa. Large Hadron Collider. And I was like,
We talked about Gunnison last night. Did you catch that?
I caught it.
I figured you would.
I got some questions for your friend.
I got some questions here.
I got some questions for a friend of yours, which he cannot admit or deny, but anyway. So look at this. CERN. This is CERN's webpage. Alice, a large ion collider experiment. A detector dedicated to heavy ion physics at Large Hadron Collider, LHC. So to me, LHC has always been Lake Havasu City.
Oh, okay.
My whole life. Like when we were little, I always thought it was strange that we wrote LHC, AZ 86403. I can't believe I can remember the zip code. But that's Lake Havasu City, which is where the London Bridge is.
Yes.
And you guys can go down your own rabbit hole in the London Bridge and the taxes and the Queen and all that stuff. But then this CERN says CERN White Rabbit Project. And when Bix was here one time, he's like, wow, you really like rabbits, huh? And I was like, yeah, I've always I don't know what it is. I've always collected rabbits. Like, I don't know. I have all kinds of white rabbits all over my house. So then it says a White Rabbit Project is a multi-laboratory, multi-company, and multinational collaboration to develop new technology that provides a versatile solution for, oh, it's just a picture. But he's like, this guy biffed on definitely not normal. Did I just get cut off or are you listening to me?
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. I can't see you when I'm looking at the other page. So follow the white rabbit. Then somebody says data mine us to control us. And then biffed on and goes, whatever data we give, they have. So this is where we take back our data. This is Web 3, right? We stop letting them sell us on the open market. We take back possession of our data.
I would hope so.
I think it is.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, they only have power if you give it over to them, is really what it comes down to. And so you have to look at, you know, that's a nuanced thing. You know, I mean, you get pulled over on the road and, you know, you say, hey, I'm a sovereign citizen. You know, I got my own license plate and I got my own private insurance. And, you know, that works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. You know, you may have to go to court and prove it, and go through all the hoops. But ultimately it comes down to, do they really have power over you? They don't, because it's all through deception. And it's just, sometimes you just got to say no. And when you say no, some of the stuff goes away. But when you volunteer into it and you volunteer information, and you volunteer into a system and participate into that system, then, I mean, it's like, oh, okay, well, you're in it. You said you wanted to play the game, so we're going to play the game. So you just got to figure out how to not play the game. And that's why I always say exit the vampire casino, because that's what it is. They want you to come in and play the game. They want you to use their tools and everything. They want you to eat their food. Oh, look at the beautiful buffet. Look at all the stuff we have. Oh, look at all these chips that we have. Oh, look at the beautiful ladies that come by and bring you drinks. And oh, look at all the, we'll comp your room. We'll do all this. When you choose to play in that system, symbolically, metaphorically, we just have to get into a mindset, and not that it's going to change overnight, but you have to get into a mindset where it's like, no, if I do this today, is that benefiting me or is that benefiting them? And so you start thinking that way with every decision that you make, with every bit of energy that you use. Am I benefiting, who am I benefiting? And then just, if we all start doing that, it starts to unwind itself. And, I guess that's the best thing I can say to it. I know that's kind of cryptic, but
No, I'm with you. And here's something else that's cryptic. So I went down this rabbit hole asking about or looking at CERN launches the White Rabbit collaboration. Notice this clock. You guys are familiar with a clock being like that?
Mhm.
White Rabbit is an open source timing technology developed at CERN with applications far beyond particle physics, including use in the finance sector and more. White Rabbit collaboration aims to provide dedicated support and training and facilitate R&D projects. Notice this giant eclipse behind it.
That's what it looks like, doesn't it?
It sure the hell does. In this picture. This was tweeted out by CERN themselves, announcing the White Rabbit collaboration in the finance sector.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, you know, they're obviously working on a different language model. They're working on symbols. They're working on metaphors. That's very obvious. And then you got to think, okay, what do they really mean? What's the meaning of this? Because they're putting it out in front of you. I mean, whether or not you believe in it or not, they believe in it, and they're kind of putting it out there. So they're into some sort of esoteric knowledge, esoteric existence, some sort of hidden messaging. I mean, they are. I mean, it's very clear that they're doing that. So, just be aware of that, I guess.
It's really interesting. Like, this is where, so I get on these kicks where like, okay, I'm kind of like not on it or whatever. I feel beat down, or like the children's stuff is really hard. You know, I think it's hard on all of us to watch and stuff.
Yeah.
But then I get on these things, and then like I probably won't sleep tonight. I will probably be down a rabbit hole. I'm not going to
be on Spaces,
sleep.
Talking about all this stuff. Yeah.
On purpose.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's really exciting. It's an exciting time. It's scary, but if you have your boundaries and if you're taking personal responsibility for yourself, your wealth, your financial freedom, your personal safety, you know, then you can be in a safe place and talk to anyone, be amongst those that are not, if you're holding your boundaries. If you're saying, I will not be abused.
And know yourself is really what it comes down to. Yeah, know yourself, know where you're rooted, where you're grounded, what grounds you, what you're all about. And once you know that, you see a lot of people lashing out, like you saw. You see a lot of because they're lost. I mean, they're wandering boats because they have no rudder. I mean, they're just like, I don't even know, they're splashing around. I don't know what to do, and I'm angry, and I want to just swing and splash water and, throw something at you. And it's like, hey, but we're way ahead of this stuff. We've kind of seen this stuff coming, and, have a little bit of mercy, some grace for those people. But don't let them abuse you. I mean, because, if you're going to go, you got to go away. I'm not going to engage anymore. I'm done, because it's not going to be my reality. I'm not going to participate in that. And, people, if they want to wake up, they'll wake up. They have the opportunity to wake up, and I think that's kind of where we're at. And my thinking has always been, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I'm going to kind of resonate my frequency, and other people will understand that, and they'll wake up on their own. And all I can do is kind of, like you said, try to not spearhead that, but, inspire that. That's what I always say.
I don't want to tell them what to believe.
No, because they have to come to it on their own.
Yeah.
You've got to learn it on your own. You have to know it on your own. And you think of, I'll use the example of getting into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically. A lot of people have heard about Bitcoin. I've heard a lot of stories about people. I go to these coin shows over the weekend, just talking to people. It's like, yeah, I heard about it at this point. I'm like, wow, geez, you knew about it then. It's like, yeah, but I didn't do anything with it. And then they realized later, yeah, I'm going to do something with it. Silver, the same thing. They had a guy who was a farmer and had his 10-year-old son with him. And within the last year, he used to be paying his son in cash for chores. And the kid, he's just like, he gave him silver, for chores. And now he's just like, the kid's just feed me information on silver, you know, and just talking about it. You know, he's just into it, and he just wants to collect, and he wants to get it because he gets it. He gets it. You know, I'm going to hold this. I want to hold this. And there's a 10-year-old kid, and I just look at him. He's like so inspired, you know. And it's just like, you know, so I can talk to him, and, you know, I'm just laughing. Oh, yeah, the teacher comes out to me. Willing participant, finally. Yes. You know, and because he's excited. And it's people are going to get it. I mean, not everybody's going to get it, you know. And when you find those people, you know, you definitely just you know, build that network of those people, and, you know, educate, and, you know, they have all kinds of questions, and, you know, that feeds your soul. It gives you hope. It gives you inspiration. It gives me inspiration that there are people out there. And so, you know, like, there are people that are stuck in their ways because that system has benefited them, and they're lashing out now because they're like, wait a minute, you know, everything that I believed in is really not benefiting me anymore. I feel my world's falling apart, and I'm angry. I'm lashing out, and they don't do it to you. It's just that they're so messed up and, you know, confused. And but there are people out there who are just in a state of calm and realize and understand. And those are the kind of people, you know, feed that energy, you know, grow that, because that 10-year-old is going to become very powerful and a very big influence on the world, you know. And I want to give my energy to that. And so find those people, and when you do, don't let them go, and feed them the knowledge.
Yeah, and that's where Mom taught me this term, cognitive dissonance.
That's a big one.
And
a lot of that.
People are going to have, that will be the shift, is when that gets broken. It's the discomfort a person feels when their behavior does not align with their values or beliefs.
Right.
Cognitive dissonance is a psychological phenomenon that occurs when a person holds two contradictory beliefs at the same time. So it's like they're standing between, they're like, wait, I believed this and I believed that. Where do I? They're having to trust themselves. Like Westwood always says, instead of laying in a camp of a belief system of a third party.
Right. And that's it. You got to look at yourself, and you throw all of it away. It's like a trial by fire almost, where you burn off all the just everything, just burn it away, and just have faith in yourself and walk through that fire and just not care what anybody else thinks. And you shouldn't be walking through that fire. You're going to get burned. It's like, I don't care. I'm going to wash all this away and go forward. And that's what you do. But yeah, there's so many people who do have cognitive dissonance, and you see it, and they have, it's just,
opportunity to take action and change your belief, but some people might.
Right, but they can't. They hold to that belief, and then they accuse you of being wrong because I'm right, because I have to be right, because I've invested 40 years, 50 years, 60 years in this system, and I can't be wrong now. So I have to stick to this because that's the only right I know. And it's like, no, man, the search for truth is a search for truth. And you wake up, and you have to wake up, and you have to accept it no matter where it leads you. I mean, that's what truth is. And you change your mindset. It's like I said, you can tell me something, and I'll be like, all right.
I think about, I used to think that Michael Jackson really harmed children until Public, TPA, you guys all know Public, we love him, really pushed on me. And he was like, Lisa, that was the elite's weapon of getting people to, he was a good guy it's think mirror. Like he was actually helping children, and he's actually a good guy, not a bad guy. And then I really started unpacking it and looking at it, and we look at who was in power at that time. You have to look at all the things, and you have to decide for yourself, like you said. And I really appreciate those friends of mine that will give me information or share with me. Like even this guy that we were disagreeing, he shared what he thought was information. It happened to be a fictional novel that had nothing to do with Trump, but he felt like it really resonated with him, and that was, the smoking gun of why Trump is a racist and that I am too. And so it was just,
yes, you're walking around doing this.
Because I know who I
today.
am, I can be like loving and calm and say like, okay, let's walk through this. We don't need a name call, but let's unpack this. And can you just understand that the Oklahoma City bombing had more to do with hiding Hillary's
cattle futures?
Yeah.
And all the other things.
All the other things that they did with that. And wasn't a racist,
it's like Building 7
group that did that.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's how they divide and conquer. It's through racism. You know, on the one hand, they say, "Oh, diversity is good." You know, we need, you know, but then, you know, they're the biggest racists in the world that promote that.
There's a black police officer who was suicided that tried to tell everyone that the building fell in, not out, and he died in a field under very suspicious circumstances that anyone can look up. So it's not about race. It's about the truth. And it's about freeing people from a satanic debt slavery system.
Yeah, it really is. We know it's not healthy. We know it's not healthy. We know that. And we know that, you know, both sides are manipulating the system. And, you know, and that's it. You know, it's just you figure a way to opt out of it. And again, you know, you start at the money. Start at the money because that's the base layer of energy. And if you put your energy into something that they can basically control and manipulate and devalue, then that's not a good system. So you got to figure out how to get out of that first. And once you do that, I mean, that leads to all kinds of other things. Getting into crypto teaches a lot of people about the monetary system and how you're being robbed. You know, getting into those forms of getting into silver, getting into gold, that will teach you, you know, the lessons of how they manipulate you, because that's how they do it. I mean, it really is. Well, you know, paycheck to paycheck, you know, the cost keeps going up. Well, now I need a handout. Now I need to, you know, I need a little boost up. And who are you looking for to do that? You're looking to the same bad guys that have put you in that situation for sanctuary or safety.
So here's the thing. Here's somebody we love and respect, but he's got a mainstream media narrative that he's heard somewhere and believes. But I saw the video and that never happened. It says Michael Jackson hangs kid off balcony by the ankle. That's not a true statement. He was holding his child up against his body and had a blanket over him and went like this to show his child. And yes, the child was over the balcony rail because that was dangerous and whatever, but he was just excited and whatever. It wasn't hanging his kid over the balcony by the ankle. These are the lies that mainstream media takes in extremes, and then people say it enough times and they believe it to be true. It's not.
Well, if somebody followed me around all the time and got a clip of me doing something, I'm sure it could be taken out of context. You know, I'm just saying, you know, it's very easy to do. You got to look at the whole picture, but that's not what happens. It's a world of sound bites. It's a world of, you know, there are a lot more dastardly people doing worse things to you than, I don't even want to make the comparison, but, you know, there's a lot of people out there doing bad things to you, and you got to find those people and what they're doing to you and how they're doing it.
Water, yeah.
And, you know, not participate, find ways around it. You know, go get your water filters. I got somebody that says, you know, I'm not going to buy water filters for my family until Litecoin goes to a certain price. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you do it at any price? I don't care if it's a $50 Litecoin. If you got Litecoin that can buy water filters that take all the fluoride out of the water, that, you know, so that your family can be healthy, why wouldn't you do that? You know, I mean, you know, at this price, I'm going to make a change. And it's like, no, make the change now. I mean, it's like that important. You know what I mean? It's like, why would you wait?
I think that's a Michael Jackson song too.
So
make that change. Oh man.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Change, man in the mirror. You gotta look at the man in the mirror and make a change. That's what you gotta do. Make the change now. Otherwise, you know, you're looking at that person in the mirror and you're not going to be happy with that person.
Yeah. It's crazy. So we had to switch weekends with my son because his family does a big thing up at the farm. So if you want to do a Spaces.
Lisa's game. So you're saying there's a chance you're going to show up?
I'm saying there's a chance. I'm posting things on eBay.
Wait, I'm like that dog. Lisa's showing up to Spaces?
I may be posting things on eBay and Etsy, but I don't think anybody really cares if I show up on Spaces. But
we love you in Spaces. It gives, you know, it's like the only female energy that we have in there. So it's like, you know, we were all talking about basketball stuff. You know, it's like, why am I talking about Roll Tide? Even though, you know, still in it. You know, one of the 2 SEC teams in it. But anyway, is what it is.
That's funny.
We'll talk about anything anybody wants to talk about. So what's the title of Spaces tonight?
Oh man. Well, you got to talk about the CFTC making Litecoin, making the statement that Litecoin is a.
They said it before. I mean,
how many times? Maybe they forgot, Westwood.
Litecoin eclipsing Litecoin.
Everybody forgot.
They did forget, and that's the thing. It's like, duh, it's a commodity. Hello, you know, McFly. Hello. You know. They've said it over and over again, but you know, the time is right now. I mean, it really is to where there are big players. There are many players looking for. Look at the LTCN, the ticker for Grayscale Trust. That's like the Litecoin ETF-ish, you know, fund that you can get into. And I mean, I think for one share or whatever it is of that, it represents not even a tenth of a Litecoin, and it's pricing Litecoin at like $400. You know, and so you're paying for a tenth of a Litecoin, and it's, you know, you're paying like a $400 Litecoin to put your money into that, and you got to think, okay, somebody's willing to put that kind of money into it because to have access to it, because they don't want to take possession of it. You know, they just want to get access to, you know, exposure to it. But it's like $400 LTCN for one Litecoin.
Wow.
And Litecoin's $110 right now. Keeps going up.
Paper Litecoin, your fake Litecoin is
paper
more
Litecoin
expensive than the real Litecoin that you can hold in your possession, and people are still buying that instead of
because it's easy, and that's why it's easy for Bitcoin now. You know, they brag about it. Oh, I don't have to worry about these seed phrases. Oh, it's just such a burden. You know, I got to worry about making sure nobody steals my seed phrase in my private wallet. You know, I got to have I don't have to jump through all these hoops. I can just buy the ETF. Cool. And they're happy about that because they like the system the way it is. They do. And guess what? You can benefit from that. And I hate even saying that. You can benefit from that. You know, because it's undervalued and it's being telegraphed that it's worth a lot more than what the stated price is. And so if you're holding it, you've got all the tools, man. You got the kingdom. You got the golden goose. And it's up to you. You know, at some point, they're going to be knocking on your door. Hey, can I get that Litecoin? Or they're going to try and scare you out of it. Please sell it. They're going to take it to $400. Like, oh, yes, finally, I'm whole. I bought it for $400 in 2021. I bought it for almost $400 in 2017. I've been holding it.
You know, I have a theory on that.
Here, take my Litecoin. Then it goes to $1,000.
I think that's why they have the phrase Charlie Lee sold at the top to mindfuck people when it goes to 400 again, that they should all sell out.
Yes, sell out like Charlie.
And sell out. That is really what I think.
Well, I hope you do the same thing Charlie did and continue to put money into the development of Litecoin so that you've got privacy, you know, on mobile wallets called Mimblewimble. I mean, you know, please take that money and do something good with it.
Because we are the value. We are the energy. So anything that is a third party can be manipulated, and especially now that they have the paper one. My God, who is doing that?
I don't know, but you know, it is what it is. And like I said, you've been warned. You've had opportunities. You still have a great opportunity. Litecoin, there's only 84 million that could ever exist, and there's 8 billion people in the world. That distributed equally is only 0.01 Litecoin for every person in the world. 0.01 if we're all equal. Guess what? I don't want to be equal. I'm going to get one Litecoin and be 100 times ahead. I'm going to get 10 Litecoin. I'll be 1,000 times ahead.
And you have to help 100 people or 1,000 people.
And that's fine. I'll do that. You know, I have no problem with doing that because I trust myself more than I trust the vampires in D.C.
The vampires in D.C.
Because I'm going to do something good with it. I'm going to go to Oklahoma City. I'm going to get there if I even have to fly. And, you know, I'm going to participate in the auction, maybe buy a few things, you know. And if I got a sidekick, you know, they might be putting the sign up like, what are you doing? You know,
that's true. I'm
buy it. Buy. I want this. I want that. Well, yeah, all right. Buying a comic book from Bix.
Yeah. You know, well, it's back in. So it was donated back in, the coin and the comic book.
Lord.
The hat has been, I think I've worn it a couple times. I'm not
sure. Well, even better. Worn by the lovely Litecoin Lisa at multiple flea markets.
There's a hat and a t-shirt that came with it originally, but I think I have absconded with those things. Oh, Charlie says he'll cook you dinner if you show up, Westwood.
See, there you go. I mean, and how can I turn that down? You might have to pick me up at the airport if I fly.
I would be happy to.
You might have to take me back too when I fly out.
It'd be my
Yeah,
honor.
I'm bargaining now.
No
You know,
problem. I will be the Westwood Express.
Oh, the Westwood Express. That's a movie. That is a movie in the making. So come hang out with the lovely Litecoin Lisa. And, you know, when there's a big line, you know, everybody wants to see Lisa, you know, Westwood's over here and I'll talk to you. You know, I'm here, you know, if you need, you know.
It's a really small event space. It's super intimate. It's going to be like really fun, and
I'll bring some pictures of the lovely Litecoin Lisa and Clint Westwood on the scooter, and we'll both sign it. This is very collectible, very collectible.
This was last year's event, and we were able to raise almost $9,000 to help Mame and her family when she was going through treatment, and it was just a real blessing to them. And I appreciate everybody who came: Mark Weems, Jim, Westwood, Mitchie, Tom, of course, Bix and Amy. Of course,
I mean, you can't beat the energy of being around these people. I mean, that's a lifetime experience just of itself. Having like-minded people, having the same frequency, and knowing that you're not alone, knowing that you're not nuts, and knowing that, okay, yes, we get it.
Yeah.
Very validating. I mean, it really is. It's very, it's why I show up.
And of course, a big thank you to my hunky hubby who supports me in all of this to honor our daughter. And it's really great having this kind of community that we have, and loving on each other and doing things to help each other, you know, when we're going through. Want to celebrate life events together. Like, I think that's what we have to look forward to, is more and more opportunities to celebrate life together. You know, we're celebrating Mia's life. We're not acknowledging her death. We're celebrating her life. And I want to share more and more life experiences with people and celebrate those with them, you know. So. And
apparently there's some gin waiting for me. So yeah, I guess I'm sold. Guess I'm coming.
Is Nana bringing you gin?
Well, no, Charlie said he's got some gin. So yeah, there we go.
Well, hopefully Nana's coming again too.
Oh, I would love that.
And so she would bring gin, because she doesn't have gin will travel.
Have gin.
Nana, that girl in the center there, right by West.
That young lady, that beautiful young gal.
Yeah. So, all right.
It's always a good time. Get there if you can. I mean, absolutely get there if you can. Come hang out and just be a part of it. I mean, it's worth it. It's worth being around good people. I mean, it really is. And so that's why I'm in this game. That's why I'm here. You know, meet the good people. How many people do you hang around from high school with, that you went to school with? I mean, how many of those friends do you have still? Very few. I mean, it really, because we've all changed, and, you know, we've evolved and become different people. I mean, and then this is like being with your buddies from high school. I mean, it really is. It's just like hanging out together and just like, yeah, we all just love each other, and we just, you know, I don't know, it's just rejuvenating. So, you know, it's very great experience. So
you guys see Mark Weems there in the green shirt. He was there too. He came all the way from another country. If he can come from another country, well, Puerto Rico's technically part of the U.S., but anyway,
territory, country, whatever.
Territory.
Yeah, IRS haven. I don't know.
Yeah, and Tom says he's behind Bix, so you guys can see.
Is Tom coming?
Hopefully
Tom needs to drive up.
I know he tries to when he can.
Yeah, get up there.
Hopefully he can come. Hopefully Bix and Amy are able to make it. I'd love for Polly P to be there. He's been here a couple times.
Yep.
Just
Mitch, get there somehow. Mitch needs to get there.
Jim is standing behind me and Amber, if you guys are wondering who Jim is. But I think everybody knows everybody else. Bitcoin Ben and Pebbleton crew. And my husband's hiding behind Mitch. You can't really see him. But anyway. All right. Tom's going to try, he says. That's all we can
Leave
ask.
him home.
That's all we can ask. All right, guys. Had a lot of stuff about, I guess it was Ross Ulbricht's birthday this week.
Yeah, something like that.
Happy birthday to Ross. So everybody, I've been closing the show with his quote. So remember to value liberty. See you guys on Twitter Spaces tonight.
Spaces. Check out what.
Liberty is not a pill that makes men angels. What it does do is limit the extent to which evil can be expressed in the world.